最近おじいちゃんいるから違うけど久しぶりにバイブスあげてこう嬉しそうできるスイカ
How's it going, y'all? And welcome to Castaway Anime, your favorite anime podcast. As always, I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
And we're very glad that y'all joined us on this episode number 106 of the podcast. Today's Catch of the Day features Oshi no Ko Season 2, episodes 7 through 10, and the finale of My Deer Friend Nokotan, episodes 10 through 12. And as always, if you enjoy the podcast and want to hear more of our objectively correct takes, registered trademark, then be sure to subscribe to us here on Castaway Anime, on YouTube, and follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode of the best anime podcast. So, Crunchy, how the hell are you?
Well, I'm actually in a very good mood today. You see, I recently released the project that I've been working on for so long, and it just feels great to have it out into the world. It took way too long to get out.
Go.
But, yeah, I mean, what bit? What are we talking about?
Unless you actually mean to tell me that the Nyan Neko Sugar Girls video is gonna be out by the 28th.
Nyan Neko Sugar Girls. I just released the V3 video. What's so funny? What
The V3 video that you put out. I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, 3 days ago.
3 days, 7 months ago.
What? No, you're joking. You're joking.
And also, that wasn't even your most recent video. It was the fucking Dungeon Meshi.
Dungeon Meshi? No, I definitely haven't done a video on that.
You definitely have not made a video in 6 months. Mister, I want to put out a video at least every 2 months.
What day is it?
He's lost it. He has lost track of time.
It's February 27th, right?
He's locked himself too deep into the Nyan Neko Sugar Girls dungeon.
What are you even talking about? It's February 27th, right? Right?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you say.
Right?
Do not be like your name and look at a calendar.
Oh god, I looked at a calendar! This is freaky, man. I woke up and... Oh god. No, it's a glitch on my computer. It has to be. Just yesterday was the 26th.
It will be the 26th in 2 days from the time of this recording.
Well, I mean February 26th, obviously. The calendar's a lie. It's none of it's real.
I mean, it does also not feel real that we're already nearly done with September of this year. This year kind of feels like it's flown by.
I mean, I've been stuck in the hyperbolic time chamber where...
Oh my god, you actually know Dragon Ball stuff.
No, I don't. I've heard that term before. Completely divorced from Dragon Ball. I didn't even know it was from that.
Aw, I was really proud of you for a second there.
No, don't be. Yeah, time doesn't exist anymore. It's nothing.
It's just not. There is no concept of time. Well, surely, what have you been doing in the last 2 weeks / 7 months aside from continuing your never-ending war with the video?
Continuing. Yeah. So I did the V3 video, obviously. Let's see. I was watching. I don't think I was watching any anime around February. But I have been watching Log Horizon. I haven't seen it in about, I don't know, 3 or 4 days because once again, work all the time. But I have been watching it when I have a chance to, and it's good. Not nearly as good as Digi insisted it was, but it is in fact good. It's a fun time.
How is it compared to the other like video game-esque isekais of its ilk, or of even the ilk today?
I mean, I haven't seen anything from Sword Art Online, so I could not tell you.
Like you've seen some of the video game related, or at least like the.
Well, they're fucking ass, and
yeah, that's what I mean.
It's incomparable. It's legitimately incomparable. The most interesting thing about Log Horizon, I'm trying to keep this fairly surface level because if I get into specifics, we'll be here all day, and I've seen 18 episodes of it, so there is a lot that I could theoretically discuss.
You can talk about it for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. The most interesting thing about Log Horizon is that the fact that it takes place in a video game world specifically is part of the point. The show is fundamentally different if you remove the fact that it's an MMO world specifically. Because they haven't really gotten into it yet, but if I had to theorize why the characters are being put into the game world, right? It was with an update called the Novosphere Pioneers. So they got this update, and then all of a sudden, 30,000 people from Japan are in an MMO world, and across the world, a bunch of different players from all the different countries have been, put into the game world as well. And it's on this version of Earth that's digital, obviously, and half as large as the real world. And so right now, we're just in Japan. No one has, or I guess there's probably, some stray people who have decided, let's just go to India. But for the most part, everyone who is reincarnated, or I guess not even really reincarnated, but put into the game world from Japan is just stuck on this island. They have not made significant progress in moving outward. And so that in and of itself is an exciting prospect because like many hundreds of thousands of people from all across the world have been put into this world. And right now we're just, focusing on 30,000. And the reason why it needs to be a game world, well, the idea behind it, I guess, behind this update, I would assume, is that someone, maybe Rogue from the development team, or maybe this was the idea all along, is essentially playing Civilization Simulator, where the point of the,
In other words, civilization.
yeah, where so they're in a world where they can't die. If they die, they respawn. However, it's introduced later as a mechanic, admittedly pretty haphazardly and out of nowhere, that when you die, you lose some of your memories from the real world. And so, if people keep on dying, it will essentially be like they are NPCs in the game, who are sentient now. They are real people, for all intents and purposes. And so the idea is in a world where you don't have to do anything to survive, what do you do? How will civilization progress from that point forward? And thematically, why video games? It's because people already kind of do that with MMO worlds. People have entire digital selves that they roleplay as. Many of the characters in the show, part of the joke is that they're basically just role playing really, really hard, and they're so in tune with their digital selves that when their real selves gets transferred over to it, they just keep up the act. Nyanta is a cat person who says nya in between all his sentences. And he just keeps doing that. He keeps up the facade of being like the super, noble, gentlemanly cat knight who keeps saying nya. Akatsuki is hardcore role playing as a ninja, calls Shiraway my lord, and serves him as a ninja. Like in any other random bog standard isekai, this would be like kind of a fan servicey thing. But in this show, it works with the character where you're like, yeah, of course Akatsuki is calling him my lord and, dutifully serving him as a servant ninja because that's what she does for fun. She has become the ninja and is keeping up the act. And it's essentially, putting someone in the position that they would be in an MMO, but for realsies this time. And I think that's interesting to think about. And when the show is at its best, it is just hardcore committing to the this is civilization simulator. I think the best stretch of episodes is probably around 5 to 12, give or take. No, probably a little before 12, actually. Because that's when you get into some of the issues that I have with the show. Because episodes like 5 to, I'd say more like 10. I don't exactly remember which episode, like which episode exactly has which plot point, because I kind of binge some of them at the same time, so they kind of bleed together. But the best stretch is when we start having like the hamburger that changed the world, and we're starting to get like actual, basically
Me when I
capitalism
discovered
is
Five
emerging.
Guys.
Yeah, essentially, where now there's a thing that you can buy, that you can work towards to get money in order to buy, that isn't necessarily necessary for survival, because nothing is strictly necessary for survival. You can sit around all day, do nothing, and still get by. And so it's by having a market, the beginning of an economic system, that people are like, maybe we should do things. Then
Maybe
Shiroway,
capitalism is good.
except also, and this is interesting too, because the show doesn't necessarily, even though I know the creator is a hardcore libertarian, I mean, he literally got in trouble for tax evasion. So,
Based? My hero?
true. But Shiroway is not presented as noble. He is not someone who is like, here's how we fix the. I mean, he is in his head, like fixing the world. But he's also kind of an authoritarian about it. He takes control of the guild building. He outright buys it out, which is the point of starting capitalism. He starts capitalism to get money to buy the guild building, so that he can basically blackmail every other faction into siding with him and starting the Round Table, which is the new system of government for Akiba, which is around 15,000 people. And, Shiroway also isn't someone, he's not in a guild, and so he has essentially done this to make himself part of this system of governance, because he knows that ordinarily he would not be a part of it. He's like, no, I know what I'm doing. I need to be on that round table. So I'm going to authoritarian blackmail my way to the top in order to get the other guilds to agree. And they do agree because, he's pretty famous within the game. And so people have a sort of, some baseline level of trust of him. There are a lot of people who just defer actually doing things themselves in favor of just letting Shiroway do it for them because they know he'll do it better. No, people have that kind of relationship with Shiroway. One of the, I'm blanking on her name for whatever reason, but uh, she calls him the villain in glasses, which is an apt title. When the show's at its worst is when it enters this way too long arc that is still kind of going on about essentially forming an alliance with the NPCs. So there's this big deal made about how the NPCs are sentient now. They are real people. And, in the early stages of the game, they're kind of just bullied. People don't really, they don't know that the NPCs are sentient yet, so they just treat them like video game objects. But we eventually get to a point where Shiro is like, yeah, these people have lives and history and memories and, do act like us. They're just weaker, because the people who have been reincarnated have magical powers and all that. The NPCs are just normal people. And so, Shirway, and by the way, also the NPCs are gradually becoming more and more wary of the people who have been sent to the game. Because before, they have memories of when it was just a game. So they're like, oh, no, we used to just give them quests and they just left us alone. But now, they won't take quests. They're acting really strangely compared to what they used to. They're starting to, form groups, factionalize, set up, these systems of governance, which they didn't used to before. They were, super decentralized before. Now they're actually starting to gain strength in numbers. And so there's this, sort of political tension that is being formed, which is interesting to think about. Except then we get to this long fucking stretch of episodes where Shiroway and a few other people go over to, this group of NPCs country and the castle with all the royalty and, a bunch of the people in higher positions of power, right? So it's essentially a meeting of rulers. And, peace treaties are sort of, I mean, at this point, they haven't been fully thought out because at first their goal is let's get them on our side so that we can gain power over other factions of NPCs and other kingdoms. But then after a certain point, they realize like we have no leverage. We need to just set up peace talks at any cost, or else they will mow us down. If we, like it's in our best interest to not get them on our side, but instead just have them be their own separate entity that can be, peaceful with us. That's essentially what it boils down to. And simultaneous to that, we get, stuff with hordes of enemies appearing because the NPC or not NPC, the players aren't doing quests. There is a lot going on with this arc. But the problem is it still feels stretched out because there's a lot of characters that it focuses on for an extended period of time that I have no investment in. Like, okay, there's like most of an episode dedicated to Krusty getting a relationship going with Princess Lanessia, where it's eventually definitely going to be romantic, but for the time being, Krusty starts off as just trying to, as far as I can tell, just, setting things up advantageously for himself is what I get from from what he's doing. And, later we realize, like, oh, she reminds him of his sister. But that takes most of an episode. I like Princess Lanessia because she's a princess who is lazy and doesn't want to do anything, which is immediately endearing. I don't give a fuck about Krusty, dude. Dude has not done a single thing I care about. I don't give a shit. There's another episode where, and I'm surprised Digi didn't go harder on this. The show has a lot of very, very raw exposition. Like, it's pretty dry with how it sets it up. And there's basically an entire episode dedicated to some fucking wizard expositing the history of world-class spells, where the Novasphere expansion update, the Pioneers rather, that update was apparently a world-class spell, and, he exposits, we don't see it, he exposits that people lose their memories when they die, because we need stakes for the upcoming arc, and the writer didn't know how to put them in naturally, or make Shiraway realize this in a natural way. Mostly because Shiraway hasn't died yet, and so he can't realize that. He can't realize, oh, my memories are going, because he hasn't lost any. And so, we need this fuck-off wizard to come in and be like, hey, you get dementia when you die enough times. It's really clumsy. And on top of that...
I gotta ask, Log Horizon video when?
Never. I refuse. I can't get into another project. I can't even consider going into another project. Maybe I'll get inspired to. I'm betting on no. But the other big problem with the show is that it spends this arc, it's switching perspectives between Shiraway and Co. and Minori and Toya and a bunch of the kids, right? It's these kids who are learning to fight. And it's beginning to go interesting places. There is a reveal that I will not spoil, that one of the characters who you thought was a certain way was very much another way, and something dire could happen to them. That's all I'm gonna say. And so that's interesting, and I am invested in Minori because the idea... I think I'm getting her name right. I better be, because God, I'm so bad with names. But the idea is that she's basically Shiraway light. She's trying to become like him, and in doing so is becoming extremely invested in tactics, overlooks each fight, as opposed to most, she gets a little involved when she has to, but mostly prefers being on the sidelines, directing people through telepathy. And yeah, I did get her name right. She is Minori. I was getting confused because I was getting flashbacks to Toradora, and I was like, wait, did I just like straight up mix up those two character names? But no, it is Minori. They just have the same name. But yeah, she's on the sidelines, just giving orders to the other kids, and I like that about her. And so I finally did get invested in her. The other kids, I do not care much about. Toya, take him or leave him. Izusu is kind of cute. I still don't care about her as a character. Sarara, I actually really do like, just because she's a super fucking girly girl who, in episode 4, is like, she's cleaning up around Nyanta's place, and because she's been doing that so long, and she had like I think one of her classes, her side class was maid or something like that. And so she's like upset at how high her housework and cooking and cleaning scores are. She's like, bro, I'm just becoming a fucking housewife at this point. And it's kind of adorable. I like her, but other than that, we spend so long with these kids, and I so don't care. I was
You've
also
cared enough to
surprised-
go on for nearly 20 minutes.
Yeah, I like the show. Don't get me wrong. I love this show, but there are issues with it, and that's why it can't be a 10. I have already ruled out the first season being a 10. If the final 6 or so episodes, 7 or so episodes left, I think. No, I think I watched episode 19. 6 or so episodes I have left. If they're really, really good, I could give it a light 9, but it seems unlikely. It's more than likely going to be like a solid 8 out of 10.
Well, I assume because you don't have much free time outside of the dungeon. Log Horizon's the only thing you've been seeing recently.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Other
did you
than
try
that,
to
it's
watch
just-
Makane?
What? No, I want to finish Log Horizon first, then get to Makaine.
Damn, you picked the long show first.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it.
Eh. I still need to get around to finishing Makane. It looks so peak from every clip that I've seen.
The way you pronounce Makaine is like nails on a chalkboard to me. Why do you... It's Makaine. It's very clearly Makaine.
That's not how they say it, though.
Is it not how they say it? It's an abbreviation of the show's title, so it would be Makaine.
In the opening, though, they say Makane.
Do they? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's what she chants at the beginning.
I don't remember the opening. It's been too long.
Well, I suppose like the actual Japanese way you pronounce it would be Makene or Makene. And whereas
maybe,
where like
maybe
the
I'm the
ne,
wrong one, but Makaine seems like such a weird way to say it.
it's definitely
most-
semi-Anglo-Saxized, but it's easier for me to say.
I'm just so used to every like light novel title being like Imo is the first one that came to mind.
Because I feel like if it has the E right before the I, so it has to, so you have to say it together. So like instead of saying K-E-ne, it's K, like K-E-I.
Oh no, I'll figure it out someday. So
Well,
what have you been watching lately?
My life has been consumed by 3 things. First up, I've been playing Astro Bot on PS5. And boy howdy, if it don't consume every like pocket of my mind of like when I have any bit of free time, like I need to be playing Astro Bot right now. I have to play Astro Bot right now. Why am I doing anything that's not playing Astro Bot right now?
So it is as good as everyone says it is.
Yes, I'm having a big blast with it. It's really fun. It's literally just Astro's Playroom, the built-in pack-in title for PS5. That was also like a mini 3D platformer, but as stretched out to be a full game. It's really fun collecting all of the little hidden guys, collecting all the hidden puzzle pieces, finding all the hidden levels. There's a decent number of secrets, fun achievements to get. I'm currently like, I think I've got 60 of the 300 missing bots, so that puts me at like 20% done with the game. I just 100% of the first world the other night. So yeah, the whole thing's really fun. It definitely gives off some Mario Galaxy-esque vibes. It's honestly kind of more like 3D Land or 3D World than Galaxy, because Galaxy had like the occasional open sprawling levels, like Beach Bowl Galaxy. You're familiar with the levels to Mario Galaxy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
like
played it before.
Galaxy would occasionally have the more open ones as opposed to like the linear string of like planetoid to planetoid. That's like pretty much all of what Astro Bot is so far. Maybe it gets more like open-ended in the later worlds because I've only beaten the first world. But so far, it feels more like that. All the power-ups that you get are pretty fun to use. Like the whole thing, it's a lot of fun. And my only complaint is that I wish Astro had a equivalent to Mario's long jump to make movement feel even better. Because it does do this really nice thing when you're collectible hunting, where if you beat a level and then you go back to it to get all the other secrets that you missed, once you get the secret and once you've collected it, you can just quit out of the level and you'll keep the collectible. You don't have to finish the level in order to like keep the hidden secret that you found, which is a godsend. It makes secret hunting so much more streamlined. And I just wish that Astro had like a long jump so that way he could it would just expedite the process of finding secrets that I missed, cuz like I've already combed through a level the first time. I'll be taking my time, but when I'm trying to like go secret hunting and get to the part of the level that I like didn't go through with a fine enough comb the first time, I want to like get to that point of the level faster. But aside from that, like movement it feels great, aside from just missing the long jump. The music is surprisingly fucking catchy and memorable as hell. Everything about you're constantly being surrounded with like game physics and all these different interactable objects that you can mess with and just like knock all over the level. It's so much fun. It's a front runner for my game of the year so far.
Hell yeah. I assume it is scratching your OCD brain that needs to collect every single thing in the
Yeah,
game and
yeah.
100% it.
It's a fucking blast. It's so much fun to get the 100% because it's not like tear your hair out hard yet so far for me, but it's also it's not just like you'll find everything by being casual. You do have to pay the minimum amount of attention to notice like, hey, if I'm in this Aztec jungle level, and there are these torches on the wall around this like weirdly shaped door-looking statue. If I break all of the torches, look, the door opens up and it unlocks a secret level. Like that, you do have to put forth some attention. You can't just like brain off A to B too easy, hold forward to win. And that I appreciate that heavily.
All right. What else have you been consuming lately?
Well, yeah. For games, it's just been I'm on the Astro Bot train. I wanted to see if I could slot in playing Link's Awakening on the Switch so I can get ready for Echoes of Wisdom that's coming out this weekend. But unfortunately, Astro Bot is consuming every waking moment of my gaming free time. So unfortunately, I might have to hold off on Echoes of Wisdom until I 100% Astro Bot and then 100% Link's Awakening. So I might not get to that for a while. But as far as what I've been watching recently, I watched back-to-back peak movies. The first movie I saw was Whiplash. Yeah, I assume you're familiar with it.
I am familiar with it from Shafrillis and also from the from the Gen Alpha edit.
Yeah, so I had already seen the ending of Whiplash and like all of like the best moments from Whiplash because uh yeah, they're so memed now. It's like it's considered to be one of the greatest movies of this generation and of all time. And yeah, watching it in full for the first time and doing so in the theater was a, once again, that I was able to watch it in theater because it was celebrating its 10th anniversary, and watching movies the way God intended is always a good time. Much like Whisper of the Heart, it is a movie that speaks to creators and artists of all kinds. But unlike Whisper of the Heart, which is about bringing out your creative voice even when other people might not understand, Whiplash is more about bringing out your full potential at the cost of self. How much are you willing to sacrifice and willing to put yourself through in order to be to reach your full potential. And it's one of those movies where I think I disagree with what it says in the end, but I definitely understand like what they're trying to say, and I think it is a strong message. And even regardless of what I think of what the message of the movie is, the ending sequence of Whiplash is literally one of the greatest ending sequences to any movie I've ever seen in my life. Like it's up there with Weathering with You as one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Terrence Fletcher, the J.K. Simmons abusive teacher character, I want to so desperately sit down and pick his brain for hours. He is one of the greatest villains in all of cinema.
Yeah, I mean, on the topic of disagreeing with its message, I guess for me, because I mean, obviously I haven't seen it, but how much I would agree with it, I guess, would be based on like how much it commits to you need to go through fucking hell to get something out. Just how committed to the bit is it?
Well, like the thesis statement of the movie is that there are no two more damaging words to an artist or like a person in the world than good job, because you can always do better. Like it's trying to say never get complacent, always push yourself to be the best you can possibly be. It's just that the movie also like is asking the question, how far should you like be? Where is the line? Like, should you go through something that Andrew in the movie goes through with Fletcher, where he verbally abuses him, he physically abuses him, and Andrew like abuses himself he's practicing the drums until his hands fucking bleed. There's this like really raw scene where he gets a pitcher of ice water to dip his wrapped up bandaged hands in that are bleeding from how much he's been practicing the drums. And when he dunks it in, it goes from pure crystalline white from all the water and the ice to just deep blood red. Like the blood immediately soaks it all in and turns it the deep blood red color in a cool like sideways shot. He's going through that. He once I don't want to spoil like all of like the big moments for you if you haven't seen it, but like he gets a girlfriend at one point in the movie, but then he's like, is like having a relationship, because I it made me think of you, because I remember you were talking about this on your decompression chamber podcast of being like, is it really worth at this point in my life getting a girlfriend, when if I were to get a girlfriend, that's time I have to devote to her and not devoting to trying to like do things that I want to do and make a like my future out of, like being a writer and being a YouTuber, or in Andrew's case in the movie, being a drummer.
Well, oh Zam, it seems like that's gonna hit too close to home.
Yeah, and so obviously I don't think there's really a YouTuber equivalent of having someone like Fletcher verbally or physically abusing you in order to be a better YouTuber. But at the same time, it's like it's not the fact that it's not just the fact that he is verbally and physically abusing him. It's that Andrew is like so willing to take it for the longest time, because he if this guy is like one of the greatest music teachers and one of the greatest music schools in the country. So like, if he's teaching me all this and he's like doing all this to me, it has to be like for a reason, right? It has to be so I can be the best, right? And say it's a question of how far, where is the line? And I don't think you need to be abused to bring out your full potential, but I agree with how the movie is like understandably gets to its message, and its ending is like ultimately like it is kind of like playing both sides of. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen the ending, but because I want you to experience it for yourself if you get the opportunity. But for those who know what I'm talking about, it's a mix of. It's playing like kind of both sides of, yes, I want to be the best, but at the same time, like, I will shut down those who try to put roadblocks in my path and those who doubt me, but at the same time kind of proving them right in the end. So, that's all I'll say on that, because I don't want to spoil any more. So add Whiplash to your list of movies that you need to see as an artist, because you'll definitely get a lot out of it.
All right, I will keep it in mind.
Yeah, after you watch Whisper of the Heart,
anime,
watch
so
Whiplash.
It'll take 10 years for me to get to it.
Yeah, you gotta watch Whiplash, man. It's so good. And then the other movie I saw this past weekend, the day after I saw Whiplash, was Transformers 1. And this is a PSA to all people, all audience watching the podcast right now. Go watch Transformers 1 in theaters. It is I'm not too deep into the Transformers media. I've only seen like some of the live action movies and some of the cartoons and anime very sparingly. I have not seen like a full series of Transformers, but it is one of the best pieces of Transformer content I've ever seen. It's fucking incredible. It's so far my movie of the year, which it might get supplanted by The Wild Robot that I'm going to see this coming Sunday, a week after I watch Transformers 1. So maybe that's going to get replaced. Maybe it's going to hold that title for all of 1 week. But for now, at the time of this recording, it is my movie of the year. And do it for my boy Megatron. Because goddamn, if Megatron does not have one of the best arcs I've seen in, for knowing what he's all about and knowing that his heel turn is inevitable, he gets all the rawest lines. He gets all the best moments in the movie. He is my GOAT. I will glaze him nonstop. I literally tweeted in my media thread review when I gave Transformers 1 a 9 out of 10. If Megatron has 1 million fans, I am one of them. If Megatron has 1,000 fans, I am one of them. If Megatron has 100 fans, I am one of them. If Megatron has 1 fan, I am that one. If Megatron has 0 fans, I am dead.
Meanwhile, I know nothing about Transformers.
Honestly, it's a very good entry point, because it's just straight up a prequel to like Transformers lore. And I can take what I say with a grain of salt, because I will not even pretend to know that I am like very well versed on Transformers lore, especially when there are multiple continuities and multiple timelines. But if for what they're setting up, if they are going to make a sequel, if this one does well enough, which part of the PSA, go watch it so it can get a sequel. It will be peak. I think we'll be in for kinography. The animation's incredible. The action's great. The settings are wonderfully brought to life. The voice cast is strong at times and a little weak in others. I don't think Chris Hemsworth gave his A game for voicing Optimus Prime, and Keegan-Michael Key was kind of annoying as Bumblebee. I don't. He's the worst part of the movie, and the one thing keeping it from being a 10, because he's just kind of juvenile and annoying in this war movie, or what is essentially a civil uprising movie. But yeah, go see Transformers 1. It's peak. Every scene with Megatron makes me come.
See, it's interesting that you say it's all the way at a 10 out of 10 because most of the stuff I've heard about Transformers is negative from most people.
Well, I gave the movie a
Granted,
9
it's
out of 10,
almost
but
well, yeah, you almost a 10 is what I meant to say if I didn't say that. But yeah, I mean, granted, it's mostly been just jabs and passing in YouTube videos, but still, like that's kind of upending my view of the
well,
franchise through the
well,
grapevine.
well, because I feel like you probably must have heard of it when they're talking about it. You're hearing about the Michael Bay Transformers movies, but no, I'm talking about the Transformers 1, which is an animated prequel.
All right, I gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think it even has anything to do with. Yeah, no, it is a separate timeline. Because
I didn't
it
even know
has
there were separate timelines of Transformers.
dude, Transformers lore goes insane. But yeah, it's its own like universe that it's starting, and it's like telling it from the very beginning. And I want to see more of. I want this movie to succeed, so we can get more movies like it. And mainly so I can see Pookie Bear Megatron again, because goddamn, his arc is incredible.
You said it's animated, so that makes me slightly more likely to watch it.
Yeah, there are no humans, by the way. It takes place all on Cybertron. It's all just the Cybertronians and Transformers.
All right, I might get to it half a decade from now instead of a full decade.
If you're ever surely this I know anime movies will not play at your local theater, but surely this one is. If you find yourself with the spare time, go do yourself a favor. Treat yourself to some Peak.
All right, that's the message of the day. Everything we've talked about, it seems like we want you to consume. So do it now. It's your homework for the podcast, even though it's
Yeah,
an
go
absurd amount of stuff.
Yeah, go watch Log Horizon, Transformers 1, Whiplash, and play Astro Bot. Then you will be cultured like us.
Yeah, but you want to know what you probably shouldn't play? The new Flappy Bird.
Wow, like what a damper on that news, being like, yo, Flappy Bird's coming back and it's getting revamped, it's gonna be better than ever. Oh, it's an NFT scam.
It's difficult to know if the term scam is appropriate. I mean, as far as I know, they are in fact delivering a game. I don't really know the specifics of what the NFT stuff is about, because to be fair, the main source of news I've gotten for this is Critical's video on it. And so, and he does not go into how the NFTs are being integrated. All I know is that the game is seemingly an advertisement for different NFT versions of, I don't know, just different Flappy Birds. But I guess, most scammy
All my birds
part
gone.
about it, the most scammy part about it is that they're not saying that they have permission to make it, but they are very, very strongly implying that the creator of Flappy Bird gave them the rights to it. When in actuality, he just didn't renew the copyright, and so it's in the public domain, I guess.
So wait, does that mean we can make a Flappy Bird game, or we can make Flappy Bird a part of podcast lore?
Oh my god, you're right. Castaway Bird. That does not roll off the tongue at all.
We can rebrand Flappaway Anime.
Flappaway Anime, there we go.
Then we can start grifting our own NFTs.
But even before the NFT aspect of it was known, people were fairly mixed on the game. There was one faction who was like, oh my god, Flappy Bird is back! And then there was the other half who was like, oh, but they added like levels and characters and mobile game mechanics. Boo. We just want raw Flappy Bird. Just the bird and the pipes and the flapping.
I feel like we should have, it would be easy to implement both. Just have an endless mode and then have a level-to-level campaign mode.
That almost certainly is what the actual game includes, but people are just disappointed about certain mechanics of it. Not so much. What I was more upset about was that Flappy Bird looks different. The actual bird himself, he looks slightly different and a lot less cute, and that pissed me off. The mobile game mechanics I don't really care about. The NFTs, I mean, I do care about, but even if we were putting those aside, just make the bird look like how we used to, and we're good. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, this story is more of just a wow. They remember Flappy Bird, and now look how far we've come.
Now its corpse is being pseudo brought back from the dead, except not really. Hope you like
Remember when Flappy
NFTs.
Bird first shut down, and the people started selling their iPhones with Flappy Bird still on them for like thousands of dollars?
Yeah, those. I mean, the initial reaction to the trailer was like, "Oh, these people are probably kicking dirt right now, probably fucking so pissed." Now they're they're doing just fine.
Uh, see, like, what's funny about it is that Flappy Bird, the original died, but like it was so easy to recreate because the only thing you would really need is a bird sprite and little wall sprites and a counter, and then that's it.
Yeah,
Like
I
my
mean,
fucking uh before I think they got rid of it, but for a while, are you familiar with the chain restaurant Firehouse Subs?
I've heard of it, but I've never been.
On their app, they used to have a way for you to earn points where they literally had a Flappy Bird clone where you played as a firefighter just jumping through burning buildings.
Kind of a grim rendition of it.
I mean, it was all like stylized and cutesy. And, like every building you go past, you put out with your hose.
Yeah, what cute burning city.
Hey, man, you earn points towards free subs. How could you say no? Just like how could you possibly
True.
say no to the PS5 Pro for $700?
See, I want to move out sometime ever, so and that definitely isn't worth it.
Crunchy, what are you talking about? What do you mean a console that looks barely different from the PS5 normal that doesn't have a stand that you have to shell out an extra $80 if you want to play the physical games or all those physical copies of PS5 games that you've been buying for the past 4 years? Why wouldn't you want to shell out like $800 for a PS5
Yeah,
Pro?
the PS5 is basically just it's literally on the level of just I can barely even tell the difference when they show the footage side by side. But on top of that, the PS5 original already wasn't worth it because it's got no games. There's what do you
It
even
has
do on a
Astrobot.
PS5?
It has
Okay,
Astrobot.
that's like the one. I mean, well, Astro Bot is probably in something else. Is it on Steam?
No, it's only on
Oh,
PS5.
it's only on PS5.
Yeah,
Okay, maybe that's
let me
like the
pull up
one thing.
the list of PS5 exclusives. Let me get the PS5 only games. Let me count them all out. The ones that are not on anything else.
You
There's
could
Astro
probably
Bot.
count them all out.
There's Astro's Playroom. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I don't think it's coming to PC just yet. So that's Demon Souls, the remake of Demon Souls. That's still only on PS5.
But two of those are remakes, so you could just play the originals on cheaper consoles that actually
Well,
have games.
Seven Rebirth is more of a remake than like a remaster. You can't play OG FF7 and get the same experience as Rebirth because it's a totally
Alright.
different thing.
I'll let you count that then.
Let's see. Did that game come out yet? Did Rise of the Ronin come out? Oh my god, it totally came out. I don't remember people talking about it, but Rise of the Ronin.
I don't even know what that is.
Did Spider-Man 2 come out on PC yet?
Well, the fact that
I
you're
think
saying yet shows that it's probably not a console seller.
I mean, Kind of. Stellar Blade, that's not on PC. That's only on PS5. That was pretty big when it came out. It's also getting a PC release in the future though, so shh.
Okay. So
Um.
what I'm hearing is, not many, and a lot of them are getting other releases soon anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you have more reason to get a PS5 than a Series X, which, I own all of the systems. I own a PS5, a Series X, and a Switch, so...
I can't imagine buying those. I mean, how expensive are they? Very, aren't they?
I mean, I got mine right, like, close to when it came out, because I got lucky and followed a restock at Walmart, I think it was, for market price of $500.
It's still 500 buckaroos though.
I mean,
Granted,
it's
you have spare money, which
I do have I do have disposable
I don't
income. And then I got my Series X used for like $300, so that was kind of
that's a little
steal.
more reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I got a Series X is because it's backwards compatible with a bunch of original Xbox and Xbox 360 and Xbox One games. So I just wanted to have one system that plays all. If all they had to do to make the PS5 worth it was make it backwards compatible with every PlayStation game, like from PS1 to PS5, because then you can have an all-in-one system.
That would make it worth it for people who don't have anything PlayStation. But, I mean, for me, none of these consoles seem even remotely worth it. Just get a Switch. A Switch is cheaper and will actually have a bunch of games that you can play.
Yeah, of like what is like the big hitter exclusives right now, there's only like Astro Bot, Demon Souls, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, then Stellar Blade and Spider-Man 2. Those are like the 5 big ones, and like I'm pretty sure 2 of those are coming. Like 3 of those are coming to PC. Granted,
Okay, but when did it launch? Think about
yeah,
that.
they
How
didn't
many
launch.
years has it been?
The PS5 is coming up on its 4-year anniversary. I think we might be in it. Let me double check. When did the PS5 drop? November 2020. So yeah, we're coming up on the 4-year anniversary of the PS5, and it has 5 games.
Only one more hard console seller than years it has been around. We're doing good. Man, I wonder why this console generation isn't selling that well compared to prior ones.
I'm very excited for the Switch 2. I'll just say that. I can't wait for the Switch 2.
That's something to actually be excited about, because Nintendo is going to make legitimately good exclusives for it.
Like I'm not against Sony's idea of making their big console games like timed exclusives on console for like a year or two, and then you can release them 2 years later on PC with all like the neat PC features like uncapped frame rates, bigger resolutions, make them as pretty as you want. But as far, it does make it like, it does kind of deprive the PS5 of being like the hot ticket item, of being like, it's more of like a status symbol now than like a worthwhile addition to your gaming collection. Because like if you want to play the newest releases, like right now, if you wanted to play God of War Ragnarok right when it came out, then by golly, you had to get yourself a PS5, or Spider-Man 2, got to get yourself a PS5. Otherwise, if you just wanted to wait 2 years to come to PC, you could do that, but you're gonna be missing out, man. While all the cool kids are playing the new hot games right when they come out, you're gonna be tailing behind.
See, I do also like the idea behind timed exclusives, but also it means that I'm never going to buy a PS5. I'm just gonna, if I really want to play the game, I will wait until it's out on like Steam or something.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I do wish that Sony would just hunker down and make exclusive games for it. At the very least, pump out more worthwhile exclusives that can like stick around and fill in
You
those.
don't understand, Neon. They don't have enough original IP. They can't make exclusives that are good. They don't have the IP for it.
Yeah, you know what? It's not like there was a game that just came out recently for PS5 celebrating all of their IP.
They have small IPP. Come on, Neon. Think about it from their perspective.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. I take it all back. Sony can do no wrong. Speaking of, we might as well keep the gaming news train rolling before we dive into anime news. Speaking of companies that can do no wrong, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company.
It was inevitable, wasn't it?
Remember Palworld?
I hate copyright law. Pirate everything.
I mean, it's not necessarily an issue of piracy, but it's more an issue.
Pirate everything as a middle finger to copyright and patent law and all. I mean, patent law isn't nearly as bad. Copyright law, although actually this is an issue with patents, so never mind. Patent law is fucked.
So yeah, so remember Palworld? Remember how that game was really big when it came out? It did like crazy fucking sales and numbers, and was like the biggest game of the year when it came out. But then it just kind of died as time went on, probably because it was like in early access still.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, people were still playing it, but it stopped being the talk of the town for sure. Like, I had forgotten about it.
Yeah, it's like that and Madam Web came out this year. And yet it seems so long ago.
It does not feel like this year.
But yeah, remember when people were joking like, Nintendo is gonna sue you because you ripped off Pokemon and were successful doing so, and you made like a shit ton of money doing so. So Nintendo at first came up with a statement like, "Oh yeah, like we're aware of Palworld's existence, and like we'll look into it if we find out that one of these companies believe are infringing upon our patents and our copyrights, then we'll take legal action as necessary, but we'll take no movements at this time." They're taking actions at this time now, like months later, half a year after its early access release. They're making money moves.
So the story, to my understanding, is that Palworld has allegedly, potentially, violated a patent for, we don't know what it is yet, but it is a patent for a certain gameplay mechanic, speculated to be something along the lines of throwing a ball at a monster in a field in order to capture it and make it your best friend buddy old pal. That's the gist of what they've patented and what they are suing
Did they also
Palworld for. Allegedly, potentially.
Did they also accuse them of like ripping off some of their designs?
Pokemon Company did not allege that. Other people have. Just random spectators to the whole thing.
Okay.
But they're not actually suing for that. They don't think they have a case in that. What they're suing for is the game mechanics. Patenting game mechanics is inherently dumb, should not be legal, should be banned in every country. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Game mechanics can be spun in so many different directions and be just people iterating on game mechanics is how games evolve over time and how the industry improves. It is inherently beneficial for everyone that we are allowed to iterate on and even, to a certain extent, copy game mechanics. Like, there are plenty of other Pokemon, you could say quote-unquote clones, that are about catching monsters with various items, hopefully not spherical objects, or else they'll get they'll get a beaten. One of those quote-unquote Pokemon ripoffs, I forget what it was called, but it was available on the Switch, so clearly
I think
Pokemon
it's
did not have
Nexomon,
an
right?
issue with it. That's probably what I'm thinking of. It had like a Paper Mario aesthetic. And so,
ooh, wait, okay, that might be something else. I've seen that game before too. I just forget what it's called.
yeah, apparently it was pretty good. So maybe I'll check it out sometime before I die.
But yeah, like you know damn well that the reason Pokemon Company and Nintendo are suing Pocket Pair and Palworld and not all of the other companies that like the people who made Nexomon or that Paper Mario Pokemon game is because Palworld was wildly successful and made bank.
Yeah, I mean, in the I don't even want to call it a defense, but as a note, I'll say if something isn't successful, you are hard pressed to call damages. So suing would just be a lot of time and effort wasted for no return because what fucking damages are you going to prove against random person's Steam game? However, even
This is no
still,
random
this
Steam
entire
game.
yeah, it is the biggest game when it released, and I think it's stupid. I think it is dumb that you can sue for that, and I dearly, 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 dearly hope Palworld wins. I think they have done no wrong on this count at the very least.
Yeah, hopefully Palworld wins this one, and if they don't, it'll be a dark day for copyright law once again.
It'll be almost as bad as if Billy Mitchell wins against Carl Jobst. I know you have no idea who either of those people are, more than likely.
No, I know
But-
exactly who they are.
Oh, you know
I've been
what you're
keeping up
talking
with that
about?
story.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, of course I know Billy Mitchell,
they're
the
in
biggest
court
fraud
right
in
now.
gaming.
And apparently it's not going to wrap up until October now, because it keeps getting delayed, mostly due to Billy. So, unfortunately, we're still left in anticipation on that front. But Carl better win, and get all of Billy's money. All of it.
All of it.
All of
he
it.
should own his eternal soul.
Exactly. That's what he deserves.
All right, well now to close out the news, we've got a whole string of new anime announcements relevant to us in particular. So we'll start off with the one that you hate the most. Studio Shaft, your beloved, your baby, your favorite child, is teaming up with Yasuomi Umetsu, best known for creating Kite and Mezzo Forte back in the day, which are pretty notorious OVAs of really quality animation and particular character designs that are also hentai. That's like also just part hentai. But yeah, they're teaming up and they're making a new original anime series, Virgin Punk, with a main character girl who looks exactly like the main character girls from Kite and Mezzo Forte.
Why is this anime so ugly?
I don't think it looks ugly per se.
It looks ugly. I don't even want to hear it. The actual... I mean, I'm watching the trailer right now, because I had just taken a few glances at it earlier. The animation quality itself is not terrible. Like, there's some action going on. It remains to be seen whether or not it'll be consistent at all. Oh god, that's some horrible looking water effects. Hold on, what the hell
Oh,
was that?
no, the water looks bad.
Okay, hold on, never mind. There's like some scene, yeah, she's taking a shower, like washing blood off her. The water is CG and looks atrocious. Okay, never mind. I take back everything I said. But
Let me skip to that scene.
it's around
Oh yeah, that does look
124.
pretty bad.
Okay, so the actual animation quality on a moment-to-moment basis in the trailer is not terrible. It's not half bad. But the aesthetic is so bad. Why? Everything has like this weird, too bright, washed out sheen. Everything
It does look too bright. The lighting looks off.
The lighting is just really, really weird. The main character does not look good. I do not like... It's not even that the design itself is the problem. It's the art style that the design is rendered in. That is the issue. It does not look particularly good. She just looks ugly. Everything in the show looks ugly. I don't know how to put it.
I think the character animation looks good. Like the normal animation. I think it's more of an issue of like the compositing,
Everything
the lighting.
has a sheen. It's a sheen, and it's
Yeah,
overbearing.
When they're indoors, it looks better. But when they're outside and the sun's reflecting on them, it's kind of distracting.
I hate this.
but
I will
Crunchy
have to watch some
Shaft.
of it.
This is how Shaft comes back.
No, it's not. You think Virgin Punk is gonna get any sales?
I mean, it's got pedigree.
What's the pedigree? I actually legitimate question.
Yeah, Yasuomi Umetsu.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
so who cares?
I mean, what do you mean? Who cares? Like Kite and Mezzoforte.
I literally didn't even know what those were until you brought them up.
Uncultured. I feel like if you've seen clips of them, you've probably like didn't like. Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah. This ain't gonna do the numbers that the new Monogatari season is doing for sure. Which I have yet to watch, actually. That's another anime I need to watch once I've escaped.
That is insane to me
the
that you've not
torture
started the
chamber.
new Monogatari yet.
I mean, I also haven't seen Zoku Owari Monogatari, which has been out for many years at this point, so not
yeah, what's
completely
wrong with you?
unprecedented. Just didn't get around to it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, but I know for a fact that you will get around to watching. What's the English title for this one? Introduction to Mineralogy, aka Ruri no Houseki.
The trailer, admittedly, does not show a whole lot, but what it did show looked pretty. You know what? Bind may still have it in them. They may still have it in them to create the goats.
I mean, it is being directed by Shingo Fuji, who directed Onimai. So this is pretty much just Onimai 2, Mineral Boogaloo.
Yeah, this one I can actually get excited for. I mean, those.
Yeah, well, once they drop an actual trailer for it, and we get to see like all the crazy ass Onimai-esque cuts in it, where I feel like it's gonna be a fun time. From what I've heard, the manga that it's adapting is one of those edutainment mangas where it serves as both
cute
like
girls do thing.
Yeah, cute girls like learn thing.
See, that's actually my biggest fear for this, because I could tell even from the trailer, oh, this is just gonna be cute girls doing mineralogy. And those shows, no, they can be good. They just often aren't. They're just often very
it's all
bland.
dependent on how they present it and how like fun it is.
Yeah, but I mean, in my experience, I've seen a few of these shows. Like there was one Dogakobo show. I forget what it's called. No, Asteroid in Love. That's what it's called.
Okay.
That show sucked. It was just cute girls doing astronomy, looking up at the stars, and it was boring as fuck. I did not care about any of the characters, and I dropped it after 2 episodes.
I did not watch that one because it looked like a Dogakoba B team show.
Yeah, it's not great.
But yeah, even just looking at the poster for this show, you could tell like it's the Onimai guys just from the character designs.
It definitely looks similar. I don't know. I'm tentatively hyped.
I mean, you're honor bound, you're blood bound to make a video about it.
I don't know. Am I? If I'm gonna sink like a week into making that, it better be a show that has actual like enough popularity that it'll get views.
Hey man, you Onimai is your most popular video. You kind of have.
This show. I don't have to. No, shut up.
You're obligated. You're obligated to the people, Crunchy.
I'm not obligated to do any of these videos that you think I'm obligated to do.
That's not what the people think.
I'm shutting down these rumors right away. Also, by people think it's literally just you.
Nah, you don't think that a number of your subscribers wouldn't be happy. Be like, oh my god, the Oni guy who made the Oni My video on YouTube is now making a video
There are
about
some
the
of
Oni
my
My sequel.
subscribers that would be happy. That's also like what 1,000 people tops.
Yeah, it's like an eighth of your audience.
Yeah,
And also
Even
all the
still-
people you'll pull in like you did with the Oni My video.
that's not guaranteed. You're making that up.
All right, well, we'll just have to see once the show comes out and it actually turns out to be your favorite thing in the world.
We shall see.
Just like we shall see about what Netflix and CD Projekt Red have cooking up for another Cyberpunk anime. They announced it during Netflix Geeked Week that they are going to be making another Cyberpunk anime for Netflix. It is not yet confirmed if it'll be a sequel to Edge Runners or if Trigger will even be involved, if it'll be like a different thing entirely. All we know is that a new Cyberpunk 2077 anime is coming to Netflix.
That's literally the extent of the news. Like, you described all of it.
I mean, we could speculate. Like, what would you like to see out of it?
I mean,
Because I know you were infamously a Edge Runners not enjoyer.
Yeah, not quite a hater, not quite a lover, just somewhere in between. I just thought
you said Edge Runners mid, and people got pissed at you for it.
How many did? Because I have not looked at the comments on the podcast.
I know a few did, and everyone in the Bagel Cord also. Every time you've shared that opinion, people have clowned on you for it.
Yeah, well, they're the clowns.
They're owned. I'm not owned. I'm not owned. I personally wouldn't be against if Trigger took another crack at it with making a 2077 anime, like make it more based off the games, and maybe you can make it a pseudo sequel to Edge Runners, where obviously you'll have to use new cast characters. Maybe just like adapt the game from like V's perspective and adapt one of the arcs and storylines. And you feel like little side things, you can do all the side quests for like some of the ancillary episodes while you're building to the main thing. Maybe Lucy can show up as like a cameo for one thing, or like don't make her a key component of the show. Just like have her be like a one-off thing, and try not to give her too happy of an ending, because that would kind of fly in the face of what Edge Runners was about. But
no, what I would definitely do is at the beginning of the season, everyone, it's our new.
They bring Rebecca back from the dead.
I was literally going to say, like, the characters converse with themselves, like, have some sort of meeting. Somehow, Rebecca returned. Somehow, David returned. Just listing off every dead character.
I would not be. I would be for Rebecca returning, if only for the resurgence of art.
Personally, I hope it's not anything Edge Runners related, because if it is, we will probably cover it on the podcast, and that means I will have to watch it.
I mean, if it is Cyberpunk and it is Trigger doing the new Cyberpunk anime, then yeah, we will be covering it. So you will suffer, I will have a good time, because I liked Edge Runners. I thought it was great.
I thought it was mid, and I'm right, and you're wrong. But you want to know what isn't mid? You want to know what we're so back? Kyoto Animations, Dragon Maid movie, and City adaptation.
I've checked the Crunchy. I've run the numbers. I've checked the clock. We've never been more back, and we're so back a clock.
Yeah, we're so back a clock until the new season begins and I have to watch a bunch of isekai again, and then it'll be we're so over. But then City and Dragon Maid movie, they're both gonna come out, and it's gonna be we're so back a clock for the rest of the year.
Crunchy, I'm gonna say this right now because we've been having movie troubles of trying to find the anime movies anime movies coming to your local theater because you live in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. I don't care how long the drive is, you will make the fucking drive for the Dragon Maid movie.
I mean, I want to see it like on the big silver screen. So yeah, hopefully it's near.
I don't care if you have to drive
money.
2.5 hours to Chicago. You're going to do it.
Yeah, and then City. I mean, why we're excited for Dragon Maid is pretty obvious. I mean, I think it's literally both of our second favorite anime.
Yep.
And so, I mean, that's clear as day. That also means, what we were saying, like, oh, if we take too long for a new Dragon Maid stuff to come out, we'll just resort to being manga readers. We get to see the story with the KyoAni touch for the first time.
In movie quality.
In movie quality. Hopefully on the silver screen itself. We're so back. But City, I have not read the manga for, but it's something that I've always been thinking about, like, maybe I should read City. And then bam, City adaptation.
And now you're like,
Animation.
Cool, I don't have to read City. Now I can watch City.
Exactly. Nichijou is basically the funniest thing ever. It's the best absurdist comedy except maybe Azumanga Daioh. But when you think of absurdist comedy in anime, Nichijou is always what everyone thinks of immediately. Because it's the absurdist comedy.
Yeah, but watching, I don't want to give away too many of my thoughts on the ending of Nokotan, but I will say, like, watching it made me, like, stop and think about, especially with the City adaptation news coming at the same time, it made me stop and think, I really need to watch Nichijou. So, and then not just like the best bits on YouTube. I need to watch the whole thing because it's just gonna be 24 episodes of peak.
I think it's actually 27 total because with the Blu-ray they had like this episode 0 of Nichijou that introduced the characters or whatever. I don't know the exact backstory behind it, but it's like its own separate thing. Basically OVA, but it released before the actual show, I think. So there's like some history there that I need to brush up on because it's been a while. But that episode was good. Feels pretty different from the actual show, interestingly enough. But it's good. I like it. And then the actual show, of course, is peak. Both OPs are complete bangers, and I revisit them regularly. They actually, as someone who has also read the manga for Nichijou, most of it anyway, they do something really clever, which is okay, so in the Nichijou manga, all of the characters are constantly interacting with each other from the very beginning. But in the anime, they make it so, oh god, I'm not even sure if I want to spoil this as much as there can be spoilers for Nichijou, but it's such a powerful moment that I'm not even going to say it. But they switch up the chronology of the manga in such a way that they can make a really emotionally powerful moment that was not in the manga that makes it even more peak and like gives it almost some semblance of a plot, which is weird to think about considering it's Nichijou, but it's really good and I really like it, and you should watch Nichijou now.
I'm definitely gonna try to watch Nichijou before City comes out next year.
Yeah, that's mandatory viewing for City. Because City is almost certainly, I mean, it's going to be the same style of humor, roughly. Just new cast of characters, new location. I'm down for it. We're so back.
Yeah, and that looks like that'll do us for the news segments. We got through that pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah, we didn't spend 2 hours on it.
No,
Only an hour and a half.
Well, the news part itself was more of a actually, yeah, you know what, you're right. I got my times wrong. Yeah, it was like an hour and a half. So, well, no, actually, no, not an hour and a half. What am I saying? It was
it's like 45
minutes. Yeah, there we go. All right, so
All right, we're
now
slowly
we talk
improving.
about today's catch of the day. We're the main event, starting off with Oshi no Ko, episodes 7 through 10 of season 2.
ムチョも時期が来ればみそじにまだ5年も猶予あるからそう言ってさもう5年しかないんだよ
Well, before we start talking about the anime proper, I actually want to ask you a question. I meant to ask this during the Log Horizon section. I guess just talk about it more generally, but I was trying to get the section over and done with. So, did you watch these episodes on Minecraft or Minecraft Torrent Edition?
Minecraft.
Stop that. Get some help.
Why?
So, funny story. Right? Okay, so Log Horizon on Minecraft, like the quality was basically 480p. And so I torrented it to get it in full 1080. And it's pristine looking and beautiful. And I did the same for the seasonals, except for the final episode of Oshi no Ko, of this block. I had accidentally downloaded the Italian sub version, and I had put it off until right before the show. I mean, I was 15 minutes late because of it, so it clearly didn't help. But basically, I was like, okay, well, I'm near the beginning of the show, so I'll just go on to Minecraft. I tried watching it. I got about a minute in and was like, fuck this. It looks so bad. Once you go to Minecraft Torrent Edition, you can't go back, Neon. I'm telling you right
so
now.
long.
It does not take that long. But just have it in the background while you're doing something else.
Have it in the background while doing your mom.
Genuinely, just... It doesn't take that long. I still managed to... I was only 15 minutes late. So... it didn't take that long to download Minecraft Torrent Edition for Oshi no Ko. Like, the point is, it's like pristine and beautiful, and you can see 5 times the detail. Because Minecraft compresses all the episodes to the point where they're like barely watchable. And now that I have a 2K monitor, it's really noticeable. And I can't stand it.
I have noticed when doing the Minecraft viewing that sometimes the resolution and the pixelation on like darker colors is really shit.
I can never go back. I had always, well, not always, but after a certain point had always used Minecraft Torrent Edition for my videos, and now I'm using it for my daily viewing. I cannot go back. I don't care if the files are like 18 gigabytes in total once you get an entire series. It's worth it. It's worth the heavy files. They're uncompressed from the Blu-ray, or in this case, the TV broadcast. You gotta do it, man. You gotta switch.
I'll consider it next time.
All right, that was just my opening thoughts. But now on to the actual show. Since I've been talking for a while, I guess I'll let you take this away.
Yeah, it's as peak as ever.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really holding up. I have one actually very weird problem with the first 2 episodes specifically that I guess I'll get to once we're a bit deeper into the conversation. But everything
is your
outside
problem
of
that they made Kana still immensely better than Akane?
No, because I denied that she is better than Akane. She is... Look, when Aqua squished her cheeks, that was pretty good. That got me. I was like, oh my god. I want that either to be done to me or to do that to someone. Preferably both simultaneously.
Wait, you want someone to do that to you?
No, what I want to do is I want to be in an infinite chain of someone grabbing another person's cheeks and then that person doing it to another, and it just goes on and on until we've got the entire population of the world just doing that in an endless chain. And then we
so
connect
you want the
both
entire world grabbing your cheeks?
No, not the entire world grabbing mine. Just one person, then I'm grabbing another's, and then it's like an endless line, and we eventually form a circle of it.
Oh, so
Spanning the
you want
perimeter of the Earth.
so what you're saying is you want to run a train.
I guess that's one way to put it.
So what you're saying is you want to run a train on someone spreading your cheeks.
That very much is not spreading them, that's squishing them.
Oh, okay. So you like it when they squish then.
Neon, I'm going to fucking murder you. I also have to note that Aqua playing off of the ad-lib that the other actor does, Himekawa. Himekawa starts doing the ad-lib, and then Aqua's response to it is just sexism. And look, what I gotta say is, why is it okay that, when Aqua does it, everyone cheers him on, it's great, he's doing such a good job, but when I do it...
Suddenly, it's a problem.
Exactly.
But yeah, no. Kana Chad, stay winning, bro. Your bitch literally.
Akane Chads are so winning, dude. Look at her.
Literally, she had to copy her whole fucking flow when she was a kid, being like, oh, she took her long hair and she got it cut to match Kana's short hair with the bangs and shit. You literally cannot win.
Okay, but think about it like this: she's been an obsessive stalker since a young age. She's been like this forever. Neon, you don't understand. She's so mentally fucked.
You don't understand. Kana made her into the stalker because she owned her so hard with facts and logic that she, in an effort to understand, to huff all of the copium,
you just don't understand the mental illness, Riz, Neon. You just don't understand.
Bro,
she will always be winning.
Kana is destined to become an alcoholic. She got fucked up on the ginger ale.
Oh yeah.
Imagine how is she gonna be with the Ahari Super Dry.
I like how, you're not allowed to show minors drinking on Japanese television, so they have to always have the arrow pointing at the ginger ale. Like, guys, it's not alcohol. There was a similar scene in Onimai where Mihari gets fucked up on something that's like 0.0001% alcohol. That is legal for minors to drink there. It's like some kind of, it's this thing you drink during New Year's in Japan. And Mihari gets completely fucked up on like one sip of it. Damn crazy how you're not allowed to show minors drinking on Japanese television, but you can show the Twister scene from Dragon Maid.
What a fucking world we live in. Yeah, but no, on top of all that, yeah, Kana got her cheeks squished together. Akane had to copy her whole fucking flow, word for word, bar for bar. She's destined to become an alcoholic, and she likes to avoid paying taxes. Like, you can't stop. You can't stop her.
Tax evasion is based. I'll give her that. However,
she got that RGB water-cooled gaming PC.
She doesn't even
Kana
use
bros are
it. I got
undefeatable.
mad when I saw that. I was like, Kana, you're not even gonna use the damn thing?
Who cares? If you can write it off on your taxes, buy whatever you want.
Yeah. Look, man. I know you're seething and molting about how Kana is actually better, but no, Akane, you just don't understand.
Akane falls in love with her by the end of this block of episodes.
Nah, Akane is loyal to her man. She would kill for him. Literally. That's not even a joke.
I feel like Akane could kill for Kana if she pressured enough. If the situation were just right.
To be fair, I bet there was a significant increase in Kana and Akane Yuri after that episode. There has to have been. I haven't checked, but there has to be.
If Kana was like, I'll put on the bell pepper suit, Akane would fucking assassinate Trump a third time.
A third time? Oh, it was Akane both times, huh?
She's an excellent scapegoat. She got those two other guys to take the fall for her.
Yeah, anyway, on to the actual contents of the episodes. We continue the play arc. Play. And there's a bunch of stuff happening primarily with Akane and Kana's rivalry and them trying to one up each other in acting. Kind of. Kana isn't necessarily too hot on it at the beginning. And what I like about the way it's presented, this is probably the most interesting thing to me about these first two episodes, which is that there's almost a conversation going on between the characters without words. Like, it's shown to us through monologue, but the implication is that the characters are getting these impressions of the actors on stage through their acting. And that
Yeah,
is
it's
interesting to think
non-diegetic.
about. Yeah, and I definitely like that aspect of the arc because it allows for there to be like an entire arc running underneath the surface that the other characters are even aware of to a certain degree. I mean, Aqua and Akane literally like contrive a situation where Kana is in the spotlight so that she can act with Akane at full force, at full fucking blast. So there's something, there's stuff running underneath the surface, and I like that about it. And we're finally getting the show off, the standoff between Akane and Kana. So I mean, I guess I'll start with you. What were you what were your thoughts on how this was executed?
I am in agreement. I love that they were able to just pick up on each other's emotions by just seeing how they're displaying themselves and how they're uh handling themselves on stage. It allows for the dialogue and all of like the direction of the scene to be a lot more flowy. Doesn't have to be stop and start. It lets the play continue on without having to be like, oh no, they have like a JoJo level of I have to pause mid scene and the screen's got to shift colors so I can do an inner monologue to explain what's going on. Like it doesn't like hold any scene hostage. It always keeps it moving. And on top of all that, the best part about all this block of episodes is that it's the interconnection and like the different mindsets developing within the play. Like how Akane's goal is to act so spectacularly that Kana will be forced to match her because Kana is like forced to match those around her. But Kana has since like changed her philosophy about because like she thought that when she was young she was like always trying to be the center of attention, and that was what made her like so hard to work with and push other people away. So when she sees someone else being, not as good as her, being better than her, she's like, all right, you know what? I'm a step back. I'm gonna let Akane do her thing, and all eyes will be on her. She'll be the star of the show, and I'll just fade in the background to put more emphasis, put more highlight on her performance. But that's not what Akane wants. That she wants her to act at her best so that way they can both act at their best together. And it's this whole like push and pull of like no one character is like in the wrong to like do what they're doing, but it's like it's this interesting, oh no, that wasn't my intention, but this this positive outcome has arisen out of the situation, but it wasn't the outcome that I wanted.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with the gist of what you're saying. And there are. Okay, so I think the aspect of this conflict that I find most interesting is that you can understand why both characters are acting the way they are because Akane has been, shy her whole life and has looked up to Kana because she as a child was, a brat who stole the spotlight wherever she was and wanted all the attention on her at all times. And so to have her just act in a way that makes her the center of attention, Akane is able to project onto that and able to be like, okay, this is like something I want to aspire to become. And that's what drove her to, go through all that training to get into theater and whatnot. Whereas Kana is suffering from the consequences of starting out as a child star and then over time has lost that popularity. And she lost it because she was, in part because she was such a prick to people. And so her, because she looks back on her old self in this negative light, she is afraid of taking the spotlight again and will always give it to other people if given the choice or if it fits the play, right? She is all about, like, I'm not going to, do anything selfish. I'm going to make sure the play as a whole stays on track, which is probably the better way to do it, in all honesty. It's just that Akane, has this idea of her, this idealized version that Kana needs to be for her to, want to fight her in, I guess, in an acting sense. But I also feel a little mixed about this conflict, I guess. More specifically, I have a really weird hang up about this arc, a really weird critique that I'm not sure if anyone else will relate to. And I'm not even sure if you, Neon, will relate to. I guess
Well, go
it's
ahead
the
and try to
way
explain it,
it's
and
the
I'll
way yeah.
the audience won't be able to tell, but I'll be like looking at the fake camera and like rolling my eyes and twirling my finger around my head, like being like, get a load of this guy.
I guess it's the way that it is framed initially. Because when we get deeper into, why the characters are doing this emotionally, that intrigues me. That makes me care. But the way it's initially shown as, like, okay, first of all, it's initially shown as the characters. I get the best way I can describe this is the characters are speaking in terms that they understand, that the audience does not have the context to understand yet. And so Kana, I mean, even before this block of episodes, but now is saying, like, Akane acts in such a way that, her acting says, I'm right. Whereas Akane is like, oh, Akane's acting is like, her acting used to be the type that devours people or whatever. Or, like, that's the ideal way to be. Kana's acting lights up the stars, whereas her acting used to be the whole ass sun. And you do eventually get more context to these things. The one that annoyed me the most was the line Kana keeps repeating of, her acting says I'm right, because my reaction to that is, what the fuck does acting that says I'm right look like? What does that even begin to mean? What does that look? I don't know anything about acting.
It means that this is the way that like you should act. Like there is only one school of acting, and this is how you do it. If you're not
Well,
doing
yeah,
this, then you're
that's
doing it
what
wrong.
See, I get what the literal words in the sentence mean, but my hang up at the beginning was, okay, but why does Kana get that impression from her acting specifically? I get that they've had interactions in the past, plenty of them, and plenty that we definitely have not seen because they've had this rivalry going on in the background. And so if it had been framed as, well, I get that sense from Akane as a person, it would have mitigated a lot of frustration early on. But we do eventually get more context into what that line actually means, which is kind of the hard thing to talk about with this specific complaint because Akane is always trying to be in the spotlight. She always, she wants to be the center of attention. But we don't know that when Kana says that line for the first time, and the second time, and like probably the third time too. And so I just kept on thinking, what the fuck does this mean? And why do you keep saying it in such a way that does not invite me to understand it? And
I
the
mean,
other
I
thing
figured it
that
out pretty instantly. I don't know.
instantly,
You're kind of losing me here.
I don't know. I heard that line and was like, what the okay, what about the acting specifically caused you to get that impression? No,
I
or
mean, I
maybe it's
guess
just
they
the way
don't
it's
go too deep
worded.
into like the nitty-gritty, but it's more of like it's the feeling. Acting is more of a feeling, and they've had this rivalry going on, and Akane wants to prove that her acting is superior to Kana's. So Kana's put back by the way she handles herself on stage, being like, oh yeah, she's acting like her way of doing it is the only way, and therefore better than my way.
I don't know, maybe rewatching the arc would alleviate some of these issues, but the impression, I guess the way it was framed to me, and the way I understood it is that it's something about the acting specifically and not just the general vibe of her as a person. Whereas if it had been framed more in that way, I would have immediately got like, oh, okay, yeah, you just get that sense from someone. So I don't know. It was a bit frustrating to me when she kept repeating that, and I was like, what does acting that says I'm right look like? And I guess the
You were
other
watching
thing,
it.
yeah, and I didn't get that sense necessarily from her acting that I was
That sounds
watching.
like a skill issue, Crunchy. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh no, I'm gonna keep I'm gonna keep this point for now. But I guess the other thing that compounds it is I don't even necessarily, at the beginning at least, because once again, I care about why the characters are doing these things on a psychological perspective and what it means for their characters. But I didn't even necessarily at the beginning care for Akane wanting Kana to specifically do this thing. Or I guess I didn't see it as important that Kana gets into the spotlight until I understood, like, oh, okay, well, there's these psychological hangups she has, which are pretty quick to understand, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, it took that for me to really care, like, oh, okay, now I see why, like, she doesn't necessarily have the wrong impression, I guess the wrong idea about acting and about her acting style. It's that she has this trauma that she's trying to overcome. That's the aspect that hooked me once we got to that part of the arc.
Yeah, I really love how we get the flashback from both of their perspectives. Back when Akane first met Kana, and how Akane, we understand from her perspective, because she's remembering it from the perspective of she's meeting her idol for the first time ever, and they get on what she thought was an equal playing field at first, because they were both there for an audition, for I don't know I forget what the part was specifically, but they were just there for an audition together. And she was like, "Oh man, I have to compete against the Kana Arima. I probably am gonna lose, but I want to give it my best anyway. I want to like give it my best earnest the old college try. And if I lose, then I was just she was simply better. But then she gets mistake because she's wearing Kana's whole fit that she copied word for word, bar for bar. Uh, this producer dude, when he's at a vending machine and he looks down, sees the Kana drip, and he thinks that Akane is Kana. So he's just like, "Oh, are you nervous about the audition? Don't sweat it. This whole thing is just a formality. You're already like you are predestined for this role. We have already decided before we even started one single audition, because your name is going to bring in money and not just your acting." And Akane is just like, what? Wait, that's not how you should do it. If you hold an audition, you have to pick the best person, not just the person who is the most popular. What if there's someone who's a better actor? And then when Kana comes by, she says, that's not the point. Like I was gonna get the role no matter what, and I'm fine with that because on the surface, she's like, I'm Kana Arima. That's just who I am. If my name is gonna bring in the big bucks, then so be it. My talent is not as important to the equation. And to Akane, for she doesn't understand this, and that's part of what sets her off into her sociopath arc of trying to understand psychology and be like, why would my hero think like this? This can't be right. But then when we get it from Kana's perspective, we understand that she actually hates that she's so popular and successful, not because of her acting skills anymore, because she was still like a good actor. She just got more unpopular to work with because she was so much of a pain in the ass. It was that her popularity had eclipsed her talent, and now it doesn't matter how, it's like in real life, it doesn't matter how good of an actor you think Dwayne The Rock Johnson is. It's the fucking Rock. His name will sell, like, will put a million butts in seats alone, so you can put him in fucking any role, no matter if he is not the best person suited for it, or if there's some, like, a lesser name actor who would be cheaper to hire, but would deliver a better performance. No, it's a name value. Kana Arima is becoming less. She's becoming less Kana Arima the actor and more Kana Arima the brand, and she hates that. But she's just a dumbass bitch ass kid. She can't do nothing about it. Her mom's putting her out there, trying to live vicariously through her child, and make her life a success no matter like what Kana wants, because it doesn't matter what she wants. She's this child star. She's the child genius prodigy.
Yeah, there's definitely some big schmoves being made with both of the characters in this arc, as well as fucking Aqua. So especially in the latter two episodes, something crazy happens. But even in the play, he has his big emotional acting moment where the advice he was given was basically, look, man, if you're gonna emotional act your despair in this scene, you're gonna have to like give into it entirely, right? Just instead of analyzing and just trying to replicate what you've seen before, you're gonna have to trudge up your past memories and just feel them fully again. Like, acting will be hell for you if you do this, but it will work, man. And sure enough, it does. Like, Kana's
He does
taken
become
aback.
unhinged.
No, and it helps Akane act as well. It's shown later where, because is now firing on all cylinders, she was able to deliver like this really regal performance near the end. Uh, shit's cool. And also, they have to keep doing
Yeah.
this play for a month. That sounds exhausting.
Yeah, oh god, I have to remember my mom being murdered
Every time.
every other day. I will say the one misstep in this whole play arc that I thought was gonna be delivered in like a big emotional payoff was, I thought we were gonna see like the whole scene of Aqua crying over Akane's character's death, but it's mostly done in like stills. I don't think we even get audio to accompany it.
Uh, I don't remember it being quite like that. I thought it was shown pretty fucking rawly.
Of
Here, let me check
him
the
crying.
episode. Let me check the
I
episode.
I,
again.
I
might be
remember his
misremembering.
I remember his anger being like
Oh, well,
when
that cut was
Akane gets,
amazing.
yeah, his anger. They showed that on like, a bunch of awesome cuts, but I'm saying when the whole thing's said and done and he's like supposed to be crying over her corpse. I'm pretty sure they only did that in like a still or two with no, like we don't even hear him make the crying sound with his mouth. It's just the still image. And I was like, oh, I wanted to hear Aqua belt out his frustrations and his
No, you're right.
sorrows.
I'm looking at the episode right now. They do show it like that. No, that's
Yeah,
fair, man.
that was a bit of a letdown.
Although everything leading up to that was pretty cool. I like all the build up to the emotional payoff.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that when the play was done, you immediately clipped that one shot of Abiko clapping.
I did not, but I wanted to.
I knew, at least I knew that you wanted to.
Yeah, but then after the play, we get that done, and we're back on the thriller grind set for Oshinoko. we're revisiting it after all the mal reviews have said we've spent so long away from it. We need to get back to it. I actually haven't checked the mal reviews in a while, so maybe they say different things now. But back when I last checked them, everyone was like, bro, we need to get to the mystery. And the mystery may be solved. Definitely not. Absolutely not. But for the
Yeah,
time
no.
being,
If the mystery was solved, we
Aqua
wouldn't have a
thinks it
show
is.
anymore. We're just giving the poor lad a break.
Dude, I love the visual. I immediately knew what it was going for when, you saw the sparkles coming out from his eye and he faces the window, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be peak, isn't it? And he turns around
Yeah,
and he no
the
longer
star
has
is
the eye
gone.
star. Dude, I loved that. That was a great touch.
Yeah, I love the use of the star motif throughout the show in the character's
Just looks
eyes. How it's
badass, dude.
yeah, it looks cool. It's like non-diegetic cuz like they don't actually have stars in their eyes. It's just a way to visual shorthand of a character being having in Ai's case like this the eyes of a star, like of someone who captures and commands all attention, but in Aqua and Ruby's case, it's to highlight their connection to I, and when Akane gets them, it's to highlight she's trying to imitate the I's ability to command the attention. It is in fact peak.
Yeah, and so for the last two episodes, we get Aqua asking Himekawa about his dad, being like, "Hey, bruh,
Yo,
by the way, they're
I
half
just
siblings."
I just got back from Mori. The DNA test results are in, and we have the same father.
Apparently, allegedly, in Minecraft, because Himekawa's dad is fucking dead or alive. It's got to be something, man. There's no way it's just over like that. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, there's no way a 99.8% DNA test was wrong. So,
So his dad is alive somehow. Even though it's known
I'm
to
willing to
be
believe
double
that the
suicide.
dad may be dead, but I'm also willing to
There's
believe
someone
that
else to kill potentially.
yeah, someone else there's someone else, there's another man behind the slaughter. There's someone else
Oh my
pulling the
god, how many
strings.
men behind the slaughter are there? We're gonna be reaching 3, possibly 4 or 5. How long is it gonna be?
I don't know. There's also the possibility that maybe the dad wasn't related to the murder at all. He was confirmed to be a womanizer, so who liked to sleep around a lot. So maybe maybe Aqua, Ruby, and Himekawa have more half siblings than they realize.
Yeah, and what I like about, I guess, the emotional state of the final episode of this block that we're kind of, I guess, demonstrating now is that Aqua himself is in a position where he's just sort of, I guess, picking up the pieces and trying to figure out where to take his life from now on. Because he's spent the past 17, well, okay, he is 17, so like 14 years. I think it was 3 when I died, maybe 4, but over a decade chasing after this one goal, only to presumably realize that, oh, actually, it was pointless. He's already dead. I'm fighting for nothing. So, how do you continue when your one goal in life has been erased? And I'm sure these final episodes will be diving into it more, as well as Bikomachi. We're back with them. We've spent most of the season not focusing on Ruby and Memcho at all, but we're back. We're back in business, baby. And
My heart sank 3 depths into despair
oh,
when I had to see Memcho again.
I saw Memcho and I knew immediately you were going to mention it.
I stood up and applauded when she got hit with the double arrows, calling her a hag.
Yeah, so that's the state of the episodes for now. I don't think I have any other huge notes to mention.
I'm definitely looking forward to see how they're gonna put Aqua through the emotional ringer all over again, being like, you know what? The guy who I thought killed my mom is dead. You know, maybe this whole thing is for nothing. Instead of being mopey about it, maybe I should embrace this new lease on life. I've got no strings to hold me down. There are no strings on me. So now I'll wash my hands of this whole finding eyes killer thing. The whole thing, it's done. It's Funzo Dunzo. He even gets like an inkling in his head when he hears about B Komachi's music like contacting an old music producer and be like, oh yeah, people in the music industry were close to I when she was an idol. Maybe one of them. And he's just like, nah, I'm being paranoid. Like, this shit's over and done with. I'm just gonna let it go. I'm ahead with them to the hospital where back when he was Goro, the doctor dude, in his past life, they were going back to that hospital. So he's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll go back there, but I'm done. I'll just help them do their thing. I'll treat it as like a little vacation, little R&R, and I'll be having a good time. But then, at the very end of the episode, we see this the one white-haired girl that we see from the opening in the suit. And like right now we don't know what her significance is, but apparently she's going to hold some significance. And the question is, what could she possibly have to do with our boys, with our gals?
Probably something to put the star back in Aqua's eyes, if I had to guess.
I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark. It would be crazy if she were a half sibling of Aqua and
That
Ruby
was my
as well.
first thought.
And we've already introduced one and the idea that their father was just a womanizer who just liked to sleep around with a bunch of women. So, maybe now we assemble the Avengers of bastard children.
I'm also excited to see, I mean, Ruby, probably not this season, but at some point soon. Like, we're building up to the realization that Ruby is gonna figure out that Aqua is, Goro. Because we're clearly building towards that, going back to the hospital and revealing that Ruby, knows that Goro is missing.
I definitely feel like there's gonna be a one or two big clues dropped in the upcoming season finale.
For sure. So that's all gonna be interesting.
Ruby has expressed that she wants to reunite with Goro, not knowing, the semi-tragic fate that the man that she knew is dead, but has been by her side this whole time.
Yeah, and with that, I think I'm done with everything I want to say.
Yeah, my last notes were just more of how based Kana is and how the idea of writing shit off on her taxes made her be like, hey, look at my Gucci bag, look at my PC, look at my chair.
See, I'm used to stuff like that because Imose had an entire episode that was basically about that, of light novel authors just writing anything and everything off of their taxes by calling it work-related. So,
yeah, Crunchy, all those PC parts that you had to buy, not offhand but new, if you keep all the receipts and write them on your taxes at the end of the next year, you can get some money back.
Hell yeah. It was a work expense, damn it.
I don't know what the minimum requirement of you having to earn money back from them from YouTube is to be able to write it off as
hopefully next to nothing. Hopefully a pittance.
Hopefully it's like, oh no, actually you need to be making like a minimum of 10,000 a year to constitute it as an income.
Girls better blow up.
All right. Yeah, it looks like we're done with Oshi no Ko. We'll be back with the next episode in 2 weeks from now to talk about the finale, which I'm very much looking forward to. I'd say it's definitely so far better than season 1.
Yeah, it's rocking
holistically.
Probably a solid 9 for me so far. Very much unlike the next show we're gonna talk about. To flip it upside down.
Well, we're moving on from the highs to, unfortunately, the lows here. Fellas, I'm sorry to say it, and I know this opinion was kind of picking up as the show went along, from us included, but I gotta say it, and I'm sorry to say it. Nokotan fell off.
Well, we have all 12 episodes under our belt, and I can safely say, all right, just, a brief peek into my overall thoughts on Shikanoko, just the show holistically. I've got to say, Shikanoko is one of the shows ever made. I would even say it's the anime of all time. It has characters, voice actors who do voice acting.
It has animation. It has music.
Yeah. Some would
It has
even
the same
argue,
3 music tracks.
some would even argue that there is a character named Bashime in it, though some scientists disagree.
What happened? Why were the first 3 episodes so good, and then all the following episodes not as good?
I can tell you exactly why. It's because this show got bogged down in sameness, in stale sameness. It never switched up its act enough to... I mean, there were some select bits that caught me off guard and made me laugh and were fun and just a whole ass vibe. The Dear Game of Life segment is legendary. I love that. Beginning of episode 5, loved that. Even I would even go so far as to say that for the first 5 episodes, it had potential to be an 8 out of 10. And then ever since then, we've been losing that potential more and more. And now we're at the point where it's definitely not that high. Just not even a 7, really.
No, I gave it a 6.
Same. It's really
and
unfortunate.
it felt painful because those first 3 episodes were so good, were so funny. How did we go from I was laughing out loud multiple times in episode 2 to I'm like, this segment fucking sucks. Can we can I fast forward? Can we be done with this?
So there was a moment of realization, I guess, during Nokotan this block, where episode 10 is basically the point where we realize we're in a kind of a comedic time loop, I guess, where it's spring again and the school year is still going and they're still in the same grade because, haha, silly comedy anime. And the show, okay, so how the show actually executes this is the narrator just says, actually, time doesn't progress. We're a dumb comedy anime. Haha, ha 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 ha. Haha. It got no laughs out of me. I was like, cool. This sure do be a thing. But I was thinking to myself, how funny would it be if this show was like Koshi goes to school and then the events of episode 1 start replaying themselves and Koshi is the only one who's realized this, and so we get comedy from the sense of almost it's contrasting the silly hijinks with this growing sense of cosmic horror that Koshi is feeling, where she's like, what is happening? And the end of the episode could be this brilliantly dark twist where at last the time loop catches up to Koshi too. And she we go through the events of all the way up to when we meet the student council people. Maybe we expedite the pacing a little bit. And everyone, or maybe she's going up to the student council people and they've never met before. We're before that point in the series. And she's just increasingly disturbed, and then at the end, everything just resets, the status quo is put back, and we just get one final scene of Koshi just talking and interacting with everyone like nothing happened. And then we get to start, just like a new chain of events from this new universe which has been created. Tonally similar to the final episode of Gumball Season 2, where that episode has like this subtle sense of horror as all the events of the show, like we realize, oh, they weren't wiped out at the end of each episode. They're like the Watersons are actually in crippling debt, and everyone in town hates them, and everything is going to shit. That episode creeped me out as a kid. I wanted to be like that.
I was like kind of dreading when at the end of episode 11 they did the tease of like guys, where's Nokotan? I haven't seen her all day, and then she's and Anko and Bashime are just like, Koshi, who is Nokotan? Or like, Nokotan's been dead for 70 years. And then the next episode starts, it's just like, oh yeah, that was a joke. Teehee, lol, XD random.
So see, this show's biggest problem is that it doesn't go far enough. It's absurd, but only in only in such a way that it can point out like, oh, that was dumb, and the narrator can say, man, that's just anime final episode things. Those are just allergy things. And we all have like a big goof and a gaff, but effectively, like aside from the occasional random deer stuff, it's mostly sensical. I want it to go off the rails. I want it to be insane.
I want more shit like
the show
Koshi out of nowhere
as.
gets fucking hunted down by this deer hunter who straight up does want to kill her for her meat.
I mean, I like... okay, I kind of like the idea behind that segment, but the actual way it happens and plays out, I do not think
I do think it was
particularly
executed
funny.
too slowly. Like the pacing of it was too slow. I like the idea of it, and I like the gag at the end that when he's about to fucking put a sniper round through her head, he gets called up by his wife saying like, "When did you pick up the goddamn milk yet?" It's been 3 months. What are you doing on like 3 cities away?
No, but what I wanted to happen was at the end of episode 12, right? Or not at the end of it, but all right, so episode 12 is presented as, oh, Shikanoko was actually part of like this deer mascot training camp, and everyone there is trying to get her back in. And I was like, oh, is it going to be like episode 11 where it's just an entire group of deer mascots trying to hunt down Nokotan and like either exact revenge or get her back in or something like that? And it could be like just this goofy, quasi high stakes thing. But then it turns into like a dance competition. And I mean, the boxing match was actually pretty good. I didn't mind that segment. But
I did find it very funny when that one guy did the E Honda 1,000 hand slap on Nokotan.
Dude, that... God, what was his fucking name? Sento-kun.
Yeah,
I wrote it down.
All of those mascots are real, by the way.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
They're all real-life Japanese mascot characters that are related to deer.
Sento-kun is great. I love him. I also loved the sequence of Nokotan trying various things to beat him, and it just like flashes on screen like bribe failed. Like she's basically cheating, and nothing works.
She resorts to terrorism not once but twice throughout these 2 episodes.
Based. But then there's just scenes like the flower scene where she goes to the flower arrangement club, and the joke is that she makes deer flower, or it's not even really a flower. She does like goofy deer thing, and it's flower arrangement club likes it, and Koshi's watching. I don't know. I didn't laugh.
That segment was fucking flatline, no reaction.
I
Yeah,
wanted to like the allergy.
How many times
bit.
am I gonna be forced to sit down and just watch Koshi react to the weird shit going on and be like, I've seen this one before. I'm like Candace Flynn, calling up Phineas and Ferb's mom, being like, Mom, they're reusing jokes again.
My main takeaway from these episodes is that I want some fucking boba tea, because Koshi is drinking it like every episode, and it makes me want some. Those are my most interesting thoughts about these episodes. I want to drink boba tea. It's been a while.
They reuse the Shika song too much. They reuse the deep Shika.
Someone needs to do a count of how many times Nokotan takes off.
Drinking game.
Nokotan drinking game. Every time Nokotan takes off her head. Because it happens so much. It's constant. I don't care. I've seen it 10 times before. It's not funny.
Every time Koshi verbally reacts bombastically to something weird happening around Nokotan, take a drink. Every time they reuse
that would kill
song,
you.
Take a drink.
But yeah, like I wanted to like the allergy section more than I did. And admittedly, when her antlers got pollinated, that was pretty funny. When she had the voice, like the ghost doubled voice from her allergies, I thought that was pretty good. Other than that, it was kind of flatline.
I did like that her reaction to trying to fight her allergies is to become one of the terrorists from Gundam. just straight up like I forget what they're called.
Good. That was good.
Yeah, but yeah, she just wants
to bomb all the trees.
She just becomes that and wants to burn down all the cedar trees.
But see, I have allergies and live in Illinois, so this should be the best part of the entire show. Because I've been fighting them, especially recently, where, in order to commentate a video, let's say, you don't want to sound like this with your nose completely clogged up, because that makes your voice very ugly. And so I've been fighting them the entire time I've been commentating this video. Right now, they're actually pretty fine. I'm stunned by how good my sinuses are right now. They've been decent for the past few days, but you can hear in the final commentary track, there's some bits where I sound kind of like this, and I can't stand it, but I'm too lazy to re-record it. But unfortunately, this show it's not that good.
It got too full of itself. It thought it could coast by on having the same jokes, the same premises, the same concepts, without varying up. I was like, while I was watching the bit where Nokotan was falling asleep in class and making all the snot bubbles and being so still that birds are coming in to sit and make a nest on her antlers in her head, I was thinking to myself, how much funnier of a visual gag would this be if instead of Koshi once again bombastically reacting to birds flying onto Nokotan's head for the nth time, what if she just like casually watched it happen and not audibly react at all? She just like watched the whole thing happen and she just like walked away, like Nokotan was like sleeping on a bench, and then she was just watching her being like, oh, look at that Nokotan, just a carefree spirit doing whatever she wants. And then she sees like one bird, and then like two birds, and like fucking 10 birds, and then they start building a nest in like real time.
See, the funny thing about that is, one, I mentioned that at the like during the seasonal cast, I was like, that was one of my big problems with the show, was that it didn't let its absurdity speak for itself. And yeah, that's one of the issues. But also, because that's exactly how Nichijou would have done the gag. Nichijou is absurd, but it just pretends like this is normal in its world.
Imagine how much less funny the expired melon gag would have been if, when, I don't know what her name is, when she bites into the bread and then she like looks for the expiration date, she said, "Where's the expiration date? I ate the expiration."
That would be the worst thing ever.
Instead of like the actual joke where she like realized that, oh, you know what? I didn't actually look at the date, and then she realized she bit out of the part that had the date.
Expiration date on melon bread. Like that
And
sentence
then she
on
looked,
its
that's
own.
where she bit. And then she like her chewing like slows down, and her expression like turns into that of a greater grimace. And she's just like, oh, what have I like? Is it too late? Have I fucked myself?
Yeah, there's so many great gags from Nichijou that don't work if anyone comments on the absurdity. Like, you've definitely seen the dog bite scene, right?
Yeah, that's legendary.
It's one of my favorite scenes in the show, and all Hakase has as a reaction is to just look there like, what the fuck? But she doesn't say anything. There's no monologue. She is just sitting there with her hair blowing from the wind created by these laser beams. As the dog
if
keeps
that gag were
people.
in this show, it would have been like Nokotan's like petting a dog. The dog bites her. She shoots the beams out of her like her face and her antlers. Then Koshi.
Oh my god! Did she just fire out a laser beam?
Oh my, she would say say oh my god.
She would say oh my god. That definitely.
What happened to the Koshi that did the Spider-Man 3 dance in episode 3? What happened to Peak?
I feel like this show just it overhyped itself by presenting itself as being the shitpost anime, and then by the end kind of just being a gag manga. And you know what? It's probably because the production was rushed. Let's be real. I mean, the animation quality really went downhill, except for the final episode. They brought it back a little for the final episode.
Yeah,
but
also
it was chugging.
The side characters don't really add anything. Like that
Student
one little
council
bit of Anko and Bashime interacting and forming like the smallest semblance of a bond over just like what they would make once with the rice field once they're done. Like that was, you know, more entertaining than Koshi going for the nth time. Noko, what retarded shit are you getting up to this time?
To be fair, if she actually said that, it would be great.
That would be. I would
fiction.
laugh. I would laugh if she said that.
Yeah, Anko and Bashime should get married. That's my take on the
there
show.
was a lot of Yuri baiting in these last few episodes.
Yeah, but like the student council, right? So I really liked, oh god, Tanukiko. That's her name. I liked her a lot at first, and then she didn't do anything. Like, every character seems to be doing their thing, and it rarely goes beyond that. It's just Nokotan does a deer thing, Koshi does a reaction, Anko does incest, Bashime
does rice.
She just Bashimes.
She makes a note being like, oh yeah, I'm working in the rice field that I've been doing for like the past 7 episodes. And to their credit, they do show her in the background doing that the whole time. But I would also have liked her to be involved with the gang.
Bashime is not even a character. She's just, I mean, I like her
She's
aesthetic.
just a meme. It's like her first name. She's just a meme.
Well, see,
she's meme.
I can only imagine how much worse her character is in the manga, because legitimately half her character is just the way she talks. Like, without her sleepy way of speaking, what do you have? A girl who likes rice. The end.
I will say I did enjoy the gag where she puts on the straw hat and the little leaf hair that she has forms on the top of the hat.
That's great.
I want more like cute little visual gags like that, and not Koshi being like, "The Nokotan, did you evade the IRS?"
No, imagine how bad it'd be if Koshi saw that hat with the leaf hair sticking out, and Koshi was like, "Oh my god, her hair is sticking out of the hat! Did she like get it custom made or something?"
Nokotan, what were you doing around Donald Trump's golf course?
Everything you've just said is funnier than what happened in this block of episodes.
Yeah. It makes me sad because I was sucking the show's dick when it first came out in the first few episodes, but then as it went along, you can chronicle my slow declining appreciation for it to the point where I don't even think it's a particularly good show when it's all said and done. I just think it's like okay. It averages out to being okay.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. Remember at the end of like the Koshitan section from the first podcast we did on it, where we were like, man, how funny would it be if Nokotan was actually better than Oshi no Ko? Remember those days? We weren't being serious about it, but we were like, what if?
I mean, if it remained as funny as it was for all 12 episodes, it might have had a shot, but granted, to be fair, Oshi no Ko is like pulling fucking double overtime on how amazing it's being right now, but it's just
It
not
would be hard to compete, but
in retrospect, it's not even an apt comparison in the least.
unfortunate. Also,
Yeah.
what the hell is up with the antler thing? The Suki Nocho. Why is that
See,
there?
I thought maybe it was supposed to be a mascot thing. I thought it was just gonna be Neko Yamada's pet, but it's like everyone's pet. It just could like will be around.
It's just there. It's not like a particularly charming thing. It's just antler yarn ball.
It's kind of cute. I like when
It's not cute.
Bashime is competing with it to plant rice sloppily.
If it had a cuter design, that would have brought a smile to my face.
If it did more, like that one episode, pretty much the only thing it got to do to be cute.
Yeah, it's 6 out of 10. Feels sad to say it, but rest in peace, Nokotan.
Yeah, if there's a season 2 announcement, I will be met with like, okay, I guess I could watch it some more. I hope it's better.
I'm not even sure if we'd cover it for the podcast at that rate. I'm not sure.
It'll be, probably not. We'll see. We'll see if it even gets a season 2. Maybe. I've not seen too much in the ways of Nokotan merch. I'd imagine that there have to be like a decent number of figurines, if not released already, being made right now, right?
I mean, there have to be. Like, there's
Nokotan
it's so
figurines. Nope, that's a fan made one. Those are just acrylic stands. No, I don't see anything. Hang on. Shika Noko Kosh Tan. I'll do it in shopping. There's cosplay, there's the manga. There's a transparent animated video clip on Etsy that you can put into your stream or your YouTube videos. No, there's like no figurines. That's crazy.
Strange.
You would think they'd be like mass producing them as we speak.
I don't know. There's probably some in Japan somewhere.
I mean, they were pretty quick to roll out the Dungeon Meshi figurines when that show was coming out.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, maybe it's maybe not as doing as hot in Japan as we think it is, because it's kind of like fallen off in the West here. I've heard no one else talk about it aside from the fact that people think it's fallen off.
I glanced at the AniList reviews and all of them were negative. So
I checked the mouse. Last I checked on the mouse score, it was like a 7.17.
It's under a 7 on AniList, I'm pretty sure.
7.16. Maybe the 6 out of 10 review that I made dropped the average down by 0.01.
Let's see, My Deer Friend Nokotan. It is, okay, flat 70 on AniList. And I'm doing my part to bring it down.
Yeah, well, it's a sour note to end the podcast on, but Nokotan, just not as good as we thought. So
Watch City instead when it comes
yeah,
out.
watch Nichijou if you haven't instead.
If you haven't watched Nichijou and you think this is the funniest anime, what are you doing with your life?
You will ascend to the next plane if you watch Nichijou. And
It's
while
absurdist
you're off,
comedy done so right.
yeah, and while you're off watching Nichijou, you just gotta make sure that in order to pay us back for getting you onto the good shit, that you give us your thoughts on what we talked about today down in the comments. What you like to talk about, what you would like us to talk about in the future. I can do this outro without tripping over my words, easy. If you want to keep up with Castaway Anime and never miss an episode, make sure to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube or follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Crunchy's channel and check out our socials, all linked in the description below.
Yeah,
That'll
check out
do
the
it.
newly released V3 video.
I'll put a card in the top right-hand corner for the V3 video right now.
Perfect.
Or yeah.
Yeah, it
I'll
came
do
out
that.
3 days ago, as of
Yeah.
recording.
Sure it did. That'll do her for this episode of Castaway Anime. I'm Neon Manta,
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
and you'll see us next time.